Homosexuality isn't a lifestyle choice, but is rooted in a person's biology, according to a controversial new study. Research from NorthShore University in Illinois claims to have found genetic markers that can reveal if a man is gay. Scientists looked at the DNA of more than 2,000 people and located 2 regions of chromosomes that may be linked to sexuality. The study has been described as weak by independent scientists, and the study's authors admit the link is speculative. They say, however, that the research could help them get closer to finding so-called gay genes. Debate has long raged among the scientific community over whether sexual orientation is biologically determined, the result of environmental causes, or a combination of factors. The latest study is unlikely to settle this debate, but it is by no means the first to try and the claim that homosexual men share a gay gene created a furore in the 1990s. In 1993, American geneticist Dean Hammer found families with several gay males on the mother's side, suggesting a gene on the X chromosome. He showed that pairs of brothers who were openly gay shared a small region at the tip of the X, and proposed that it contained a gene that predisposes a male to homosexuality. Gay men were divided. It vindicated the oft-repeated claims that I was born this way, but also opened frightening new possibilities for detection and discrimination. In the latest study, researchers at NorthShore University, NSU, HealthSystem's Research Institute, based in Evanston, made the findings after conducting a genome-wide association study, GWAS. This examined the sexual orientation of 1,077 homosexual and 1,231 heterosexual men. Sexual orientation of participants in the study was rated based on their self-reported sexual identity and sexual feelings. Men were asked to provide DNA by blood or saliva samples that were then analyzed for variations in their genetic code. They found 2 regions with multiple genetic variants most strongly associated with sexuality. These were located on chromosomes 13 and 14, near genes that have functions which may be relevant to the development of sexual orientation. Alan Sanders, a psychiatrist who studies behavioral genetics at NSU who led the study, said, because sexuality is an essential part of human life, for individuals and society, it is important to understand the development and expression of human sexual orientation. The goal of this study was to search for genetic underpinnings of male sexual orientation, and thus ultimately increase our knowledge of biological mechanisms underlying sexual orientation. What we have accomplished is a first step for GWAS on the trait, and we hope that subsequent larger studies will further illuminate its genetic contributions. The strongest associated region on chromosome 13 was located between the genes SLITRK5 and SLITRK6. SLITRK6 is a neurodevelopmental gene mostly expressed in a region of the brain called the diencephalon, which contains a region previously reported as differing in size in men depending on their sexual orientation. On chromosome 14, the thyroid-stimulating hormone receptor, TSHR, gene was found to span the most significant region that may offer clues into sexual orientation. Genetic variants in TSHR may help explain past findings linking thyroid function and sexual orientation. The authors note that a modest sample size in their study for a trait with complex genetics is a limitation. So too is their focus on men of European ancestry, as well as limiting the study to just men. Researchers emphasize that, although the top two association regions provide interesting, and perhaps trait-relevant examples with their closest genes, the potential connections remain speculative. About the findings, Professor Robin Lavelle-Badge, group leader at the Francis Crick Institute Biomedical Research Centre in London, who was not involved in the study, said, genome-wide association studies, GWAS, are problematic and are frequently underpowered, meaning that the sample sizes are too small to allow any robust conclusions. This is particularly so for traits like being gay, that are likely to involve many genes, and where environmental influences, perhaps both in utero and postnatally, can have a strong effect. Moreover, correlation does not mean causation. The new data on genetic associations they report here does not show sufficient statistical significance to make any formal link between a gene or chromosome region and being gay or heterosexual. However, their data does tend to reinforce some previous findings of associations, which were also relatively weak, with a region of chromosome 8 in the X chromosome. Can studying DNA really reveal if someone is gay? Debate has long raged among the scientific community over whether sexual orientation is biologically determined, the result of environmental causes, or a combination of factors. The latest study is unlikely to settle this debate, but it is by no means the first to try and claim that homosexual men share a gay gene, created a furore in the 1990s. In 1993, American geneticist Dean Hammer found families with several gay males on the mother's side, suggesting a gene on the X chromosome. He showed that pairs of brothers who are openly gay shared a small region at the tip of the X, and proposed that it contained a gene that predisposes a male to homosexuality. He was challenged at every turn by people unwilling to accept that homosexuality is at least partly genetic, rather than a lifestyle choice. Debate has long raged among the scientific community over whether sexual orientation is biologically determined, the result of environmental causes, or a combination of factors. Gay men were divided. It vindicated the oft-repeated claims that I was born this way, but also opened frightening new possibilities for detection and discrimination. Similar studies gave contradictory results. A later search found associations with genes on 3 other chromosomes. More recently, in February 2014, scientists announced they had found 2 stretches of DNA linked to homosexuality in men. In the study, Chicago University researchers analyzed the DNA of more than 400 pairs of gay brothers, recruited at gay pride festivals at marches over several years. This flagged up 2 pieces of DNA that seemed to be linked to homosexuality.A and B. In October 2015, experts claimed they could predict whether someone is gay or straight with up to 70% accuracy by looking at their DNA. Using a computer program called Fuzzy Forest, they found that 9 small regions of the genetic code play the key role on deciding whether someone is heterosexual or homosexual. Regions of chromosome 13 and 14 also appear from the new work to be worth paying attention to in future studies. Professor Gil McBean, who specializes in statistical genetics at the University of Oxford, added, the researchers have found weak evidence for genetic variation that influences self-reported sexual preferences in men. However, the sample size is small, the results have not been replicated in an independent study, and the level of evidence presented doesn't meet the threshold of significance typically required within the field. I don't think the work would have been published if it were on a less controversial topic. It is, at best, preliminary. The full findings of the study were published today in the Nature journal Scientific Reports.